God bless the flag, we all beating our chests. When it's peace, it's the same old game. The same old players, same old names. Right. My skin is my sin. My skin is my sin. My skin is my sin.
Yep, this is Teri Williams, President and owner of One United Bank.
And I'm sorry, my name is Jobs. We have
Jobs.
Thank you. My co-host AJ and my co-host Queen Afi.
Hey, good evening. How are you doing?
How you doing today?
Doing great.
And Afi, I think you got a little background noise because I couldn't hear what you said. But
okay.
I kind of want to start from the beginning about the event that you have coming up.
Yes, sure. So we're very excited. The event is tomorrow. It's a Facebook Live event. You can tune in at One United Bank's Facebook Live, site. And we're One United Bank is the largest Black-owned bank in the country, and we encourage our community to bank Black, but to not only move our money, but also to move our mind and focus on collective economics and what we could do as a community to sort of bring our money together and to bank Black, buy Black, and support the Black community. We actually launched a partnership with Black Lives Matter in February. We have something called the Amir card. It's a card with a young Black boy in a hoodie. That's a fabulous card. If you go on our website, oneunited.com, you can see it. And those that carry the card are encouraged to contribute to Black Lives Matter. The reason that this is important, and it's something I can't emphasize enough as a banker and also as an activist, is that social and economic justice are intertwined. That our need to improve the systems that are in place that are not always just, whether they're social or economic, they have a way of holding us back as a community. So, we need to continue to advocate for ourselves, and we also need to figure out ways to better support each other.
I agree with that.
So,
oh wow.
So So at this event tomorrow, we actually are going to have Sabrina Fulton, the mom of Trayvon Martin, talk about her experience, and Dr. Melina Abdullah, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, talk about their activism. What is sort of very powerful to me is that these are both powerful women and have come together. I think probably most of your listeners know that Black Lives Matter really came out of or began once Zimmerman was acquitted of murdering Trayvon Martin. And so this is really bringing together the beginning, or the sad beginning, of the movement with one of the co-founders of the movement. And I'm really looking forward to it. I know them both, and they are incredible. They're not only incredible women, they're also moms. They're activists, and they really, sort of have a way of communicating that helps us all sort of understand how we can, again, sort of work together and move us forward.
That's phenomenal.
Wow, that's incredible.
And
incredible.
Like that's. And my thing is like, and I tell people all the time, because people are going to be critical no matter what you do. And I say, like, when people are doing something, celebrate that. You may not agree with the lane that they in, but allow them to be able to progress in their own lane.
Yeah.
Now, that is such
Even
music to my ears. That's such music. I say the same thing. I don't say it that eloquently, but I say the exact same thing. I say, don't be hating.
I get lucky every once in a while.
Right. No, really, I agree. I mean, And really, this is something that Sabrina Fulton says. Really, she asks everyone to do their part. You know, and if we all did our part, if everybody contributed and did their part, as opposed to, being critical of others, instead just do your part, then we could move ourselves forward.
And what I did was I did. I'm sorry, AJ, but I did text the publishers because I didn't think you guys were calling in until 7:15 anyway. So maybe Dr. Abdullah is under that time frame.
Okay.
And that's
okay,
that. You know what? Hey, I'm not being critical at all. We definitely appreciate the love. So,
glad to be here and really, yep.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
go ahead,
definitely.
AJ.
Yes, good evening. How you doing? Yeah, this is Brother Greg, AJ, and that's something that's something that we preach. How you doing? That's something that we preach around here a lot. Every component of what we push as far as melanated Black people is important. One bigger or smaller doesn't matter. You're important. But I have a question for you, and this is about Black economics. Why do you think that Black people are so afraid to invest or just put their money in banks? We all had the big mamas that had thousands upon thousands of dollars in mattresses. We put our money under the bed, shoe boxes, and things of that nature. Do you think that people being illiterate to banking is kind of holding Black people back, or why do you think that Black people don't invest the way that they should?
Yeah, no, it is a good question, and in fact, just to give perspective to that, we're the largest Black-owned bank, as I mentioned, and we're $650 million, which is a nice size. But if you look at the largest Asian American-owned bank, it's $30 billion. If you look at the largest Hispanic American bank, it's $20 billion. So
all of these are in America, correct?
What's that?
All of these are in America, correct? I'm just, making it
all
clear.
in America, all in America. So we are really the only group that doesn't understand the importance of banking with ourselves, doing business with ourselves. Our money only circulates in the Black community. Black folks' money circulates in our community for only 6 hours before it's spent in other communities. The Asian American community, their money circulates for 28 days. So they recognize that, by circulating money, by buying from themselves, by employing themselves, by engaging themselves, they can build wealth in their community. And it is something that we need to embrace. Now, I do understand, sort of the history and why we, still need to embrace it and haven't. There was a time, and, sort of going back in history, when we were segregated, we had our own, Black businesses. We had, Black banks. We had more Black banks. We had Black insurance companies. We had all kinds of Black businesses. And then once we became integrated, all of us felt like, their ice was colder. And now that we could, sort of bank with Bank of America, or so that we could go to their schools and, go to their doctors or dentists or whatever, we, flew from our community and started bringing our business to them. And we really developed a, and I hate to put it any other way, but a mentality that their ice was colder.
That's a fact.
Okay,
Yep, and we need to get over that.
Just one more question. I don't mean to jump the line, guys. I'm sorry. Just for anybody else that's listening, that might have children, as a parent, what would you tell? What would be appropriate age for your children to start get a bank account and understand how to properly bank and the importance of it?
Yep. So you're never too young. Your kids are never too young to get them to start focusing on money. Giving them an allowance, having them go and open up a bank account, preferably with a Black-owned bank. And for them to see, sort of to understand money and to see what it means to save and what it means to bank black and what it means to, even again, I talk about banking black, but, also having a black pediatrician or, a black dentist or it's really important for them to see and to have these role models in their life. Because if you don't, then they are going to grow up with a sense that they're ISIS holder and that, everything that I do has to, it won't look like me. As well as, maybe I can't do, all the things that I'd like to do because I don't see anyone that looks like me doing it. So I really don't think you could be too young. I actually wrote a book, a children's book called I Got Bank. And it's for kids that are between 8 and 12. And I focused on that age group because, sort of before they're teenagers where they feel like, you can't tell them anything, but they're old enough to be able to, sort of read a chapter book. So I wrote this book to educate our community about money. What I saw in the books that were out there is that it was usually books that really didn't cover the things that we see in our community. We have check cashers. We have issues with credit scores. We have check systems records. I mean, a lot of the things that we experience as a community are not written in children's books. And so I wrote this book really to educate our community about money. At a young age.
That's beautiful right there because we don't even realize it too, but we show our kids a lot of bad habits because we haven't been taught any better.
Yes. Right. On that, I don't mean to, interrupt, but I also share with people because I teach financial literacy all over the country, and one of the things I share is that, if you look around your home, it will give you a sense of what you value. So if, for instance, you're in your home and you don't have any books, or you don't have any financial literacy books, or, it's really where you put your money or and who you give your money is who you give your power. So it's really important for us to, as I say, to not just move our money, but to move our mind and start thinking about the $1.2 trillion that we as a community spend every year and figure out ways to use that money that move, us individually forward, move our family forward, and move our community forward.
And I'm sorry, I saw somebody press that they wanted to get up, and I guess the call dropped now. So, Dr. Abdallah, if you are out there, we definitely are awaiting you to call up. So just press 1, so I'll know that you want to get on the line. I can just randomly answer some lines if necessary. I'll do that too. And I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I know a couple of years ago, because I sell like shirts and stuff on the side too, but a couple of years ago, I went to an event in Bridgeport, Connecticut called Black Wall Street.
Are you kidding me? Wow. I used to live in Bridgeport. Small world.
Have you ever been to Black Wall Street?
No, I haven't. I haven't been to Bridgeport in a while, but.
I mean, like it's grown since then, like it's and I'll tell you a story too. And I'm sorry, I kind of want but I'm not the most trusting individual.
You were just visiting. Okay, good.
I went down there specifically for the event. I met El Dorado Hotep, who is the founder. Him and his queen are the founders of the event on Facebook. I go down there and he's like, "Look, you could crash in my crib. I know you're coming, from a very long way." I'm like, "Nah, all right, I'm gonna stay at the hotel." I get to their house though, and they were the most phenomenal people I've ever met. I felt bad that I did not take them up on their offer, and the event was all about us, selling to us, and it was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You know, so
wow.
And I guess I say that to say, if you guys ever get a chance to you know, do something with Black Wall Street, they are good people,
right?
And I, for one, amongst 1,000 other people, can vouch for them wholeheartedly. They really are. Okay. And I'm not involved in their organization, by the way.
Okay, no, that's good to hear because no, I know Bridgeport well. I'm sorry, I'm getting a car. Thank you. And so I'll definitely check them out. No, and I think one of the things that, you know, we're seeing is that this movement, this Bank Black movement, is spreading, and people are starting to appreciate, you know, Black Wall Street. You know, starting to see, you know, sort of where we were, and how, you know, I hate to put it this way, but how far back we have gone. And our need to sort of move forward. So it has been, you know what, I realize that it's too noisy out here, so I'm going to.
Oh, no, you're fine. I couldn't even hear anything, to be quite honest.
Okay, you're fine? Okay, good. Hold on
Hello?
1 second, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yep, hold on.
Okay.
Wow, that's pretty phenomenal, though. And
yeah, man.
I'm hoping, you know what? Hold on 1 second. And I'm hoping this 4784 is Dr. Abdullah. I just seen another call come in the queue. If that is, can you press 1 for me? If you are out there listening, Dr. Abdullah, please press 1. All right, you know.
Well, yeah, man. The sister was.
Drop a bomb.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back.
You know what I mean?
So, no, I think one of the things that we're seeing is that this movement is spreading across the country, and we get, you know, feedback from all over. I tell people, you go to my Facebook page, our Facebook page, you know, I read all comments, and I love to read the comments because they really do, they provide great feedback for us. You know, from the comments, we've actually made changes in, you know, some of the things that we do. So I really encourage, you know, your audience to, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, to really connect with us and learn more about the movement, but also share your thoughts and ideas. And from that, though, I mean, we've received comments from all over the country. You know, we have customers from, you know, in all 50 states. You can open up an account with us online. It's very easy at, you know, OneUnited, ONEUnited.com. And so, you know, there's, you know, as I say, there's no excuse, but I mean, it really is, it's very convenient. Maybe I put it that way. It's very convenient for you or for everyone to bank Black. And, you know, we encourage people to open up a savings account, you know, set up an automatic savings account where you put $5, $10 or whatever away to, you know, create a, you know, you call it a rainy day fund or a fun day, you know, fund,
right.
You know, for yourself. And what we do with those deposits is that we lend to low to moderate income communities. We don't discriminate, but the majority of our lending are in communities that are 90% or more Black and Hispanic. And, you know, Bank of America or Wells Fargo and none of those other banks. So, and that's not just true of OneUnited. That's true of all Black banks, that we are more likely to lend to Black people. We're more likely to employ Black people.
Yes.
So, you know, it really is, I mean, this is the other thing about, you know, again, banking Black is that when you do, you know, it's still your money. You know, like, we're not asking for a donation. We're not asking you to contribute to a cause. You know, we're just saying, you know, put your money in a Black-owned bank. You can take it out. You can use it to pay bills.
It's just like,
it's still yours.
It's just like any other bank. You know, it's right. I'm seeing these conversations. I've seen these conversations happen with Black people when you try to explain to them, because one thing I would like to add on to what you're saying is, even if you do have a bank account, you can take out some money and just put it into a Black bank as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not illegal to have two different bank accounts. You know?
That's a fact. And you have physical locations too, isn't that correct?
Yes. So we're in LA and Boston and Miami. So we have physical locations as well as online. So no, thank you for mentioning that. And actually, our history, we brought together, merged four black-owned banks that were in Boston, Miami, and LA, and merged them into one, and then changed our name or the names of each of those banks to One United. And from that merger, from those mergers, as well as from our, internal growth, we became the largest black-owned bank in the country.
Wow. So where are you from originally?
Yeah. So
you said you were from Bridgeport originally?
No, not originally. I'm from Indiantown, Florida. Indiantown is a small town in Florida where there's a railroad track, and white people lived on one side and black people lived on the other. And it's sort of interesting. I did live in Bridgeport, and actually projects of Bridgeport called Beardsley Terrace, for any of your listeners that know that. But I grew up in with no resources, limited resources, and I was able on scholarship to go to Brown University, where I graduated. Yep, and Harvard Business School. And it's sort of interesting. When I used to talk about, my background, and people say, how did you become the owner of a, bank, and how did you become the president of the bank? And I used to talk about, Brown and Harvard as, sort of how I got there. But what I realized, really, very recently, and I have to say embarrassingly so, I realized that I am who I am, and I've gotten to where I've gotten really because of my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother, I used to follow around in Indiantown. She owned a candy store. She owned a juke joint, a barbecue pit, and some houses. And she used to collect rent. And I used to work in the candy store, and I used to follow her around. And I owe everything that I have accomplished to following my great-grandmother around. And the fact that it's taking me, 50-plus years to realize that, and instead sort of giving, all the honor, for lack of a better way of saying it, to, some great institutions, Brown and Harvard. But I think it really, sort of represents us as a community that, we don't always recognize that our history, our great-grandmother, our grandmother, our mom, our dad, really are the reasons that we have been successful. And we need to, as a community, embrace our history, embrace our blackness, be unapologetically black, and recognize we need to take that forward. Yeah.
I just love to hear that. That's beautiful, Queen. That really is.
Thank you.
And I think that it's not even like I guess my question would not even be like, how did you own a bank? It would be more along the lines of, how did you conceptualize that you could do it? Like, that's so out of bounds to do that, especially somebody coming from the projects.
Yeah.
Typically, that's not something that you would, man, I'm going to do, and actually do it. That's phenomenal. Salute to you.
Yeah. Thank you. And no, I agree with you. In fact, that's another story I have about Indiantown, because this was maybe about, 5 years or so ago, and I got, the New York Times was delivered to me, and I look on the cover of the Times, and there are all these solar panels, sort of this field of solar panels, and I look down and I read, sort of the caption, and the caption said, Indiantown, Florida. And I'm like, what? And so I read this story, and I realized that this little old town I'm from that had 7,000 people, and all of us, these poor black folks walking around on these dirt roads in Indiantown across the railroad track. Behind us, behind sort of, I want to call it the trees, the orange groves, behind us was Florida Power and Light. which is the owner of the most solar panels in the country. And that there was this huge, huge company that was literally walking distance from my home that I never even realized was there. And I feel like that happens to us too much. You know, the opportunity is right on the other side of the trees, but we don't see it because we are, you know, for lack of a better term, sort of oppressed, depressed, you know, too focused on what's, you know, next door. And so, I think that, when I thought about it, I was like, wow, I could have gone there and had a summer job, or I could have, had an internship if I had only gone sort of past the trees to see this big industry that was literally right behind me. Mm-hmm. And so that, those are the kind of, lessons, I guess, that I really would like our young folks to have. Like, don't just focus on, your block. Focus on what's behind your block, what's in front of your block. Focus on, try to, whether it's, online, whether it's, on TV, whether it's, on radio, what you're listening to. You too can own a bank. You too can go to Brown. You can go to Harvard. You too, you are somebody's great grandchild, and you too are a queen, and a king. And to, not allow, our circumstance to limit our imagination and our focus.
Okay, well, I know you did, and she told us, I don't know, about a half an hour or whatnot, so I truly appreciate you going over that. But I want to try to sneak in a couple questions if possible, and Afia, I'm sorry, interrupt me if you need to. But let's say family of four, just making ends meet, but they are trying to get their credit fixed. And they got the typical things, a couple of student loans, a couple of bills or whatnot. Like, what's the first thing that you do to successfully get back on track with repairing your credit?
Yep. So the first thing that you do is you order your credit report. And you can do it free at annualcreditreport.com. I know that there are all these, websites, Credit Karma and all that kind of stuff, but annualcreditreport.com is the government mandated site for you to get your actual credit report from so you go to annualcreditreport.com and order all three of your credit reports and look at them, because it is likely that there are some wrong things on your credit report that could be bringing your credit down. So that's the number one thing you should do, is look to make sure that the information is correct.
Okay.
The second thing you should do is to recognize that what impacts credit scores is the timeliness in which you pay your bills. It's not the amount that you owe. It's not the amount that you pay. It's the timeliness in which you pay your bills. So even if you pay the minimum, you should ensure that you pay your bills on time, because 35% of your credit score is the biggest factor, is paying bills on time. The other thing, and this is, first of all, I think it's fabulous to focus on your credit, because credit is starting to be used not just for getting loans or buying homes. It's starting to be used for insurance. It's starting to be used for jobs. It's starting to be used if you want to even get an apartment or you want to get a utility. So it is important that we all focus on credit. And, one of the things that we introduced is a secured credit card. And the reason that we introduced a secured credit card is what we saw is that our community was getting sold these prepaid debit cards. They're like, okay, you have bad credit, but you can carry a Visa card, and here's this card. You just give us the money, we give you this card. The problem with that is that those cards charge a lot of fees, and they cannot help you rebuild your credit. So people walking around paying all these fees, and they got a card, and they say they can, use a card, but it's not helping you rebuild your credit. It's, in fact, they're making a lot of money off of our community and keeping us as second-class citizens. So we came up with a secured card to say to people, you can. It's very similar in that you put you say put money down, you put a security deposit, but what you get is an actual credit card, and this credit card reports to all 3 major credit bureaus. This is a credit card, not a debit card. So when nobody can tell it's a secured card. It looks just like a credit card. So it's, that's the other thing that I would recommend is that people move from a prepaid debit card and get a secured card. And then, again, you can get that at oneunited.com. You can learn about the difference. We have a blog, a secured credit card blog. You can learn about the difference between a secured card and a prepaid debit card. But I feel like prepaid debit cards are like subprime mortgages. They're products that they sell to our community that really don't help us and charge us a bunch of fees, but don't move us forward.
I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it like that.
Honestly, I just try to stay away from the credit cards, and I'm realizing that was a mistake. That I could get one and just use it minimally.
Minimally,
yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you do need credit. Because you do need credit. You do need you need credit. It's really hard if you have no credit to move forward. So you do need some credit, but yes, it's to use it minimally.
That was the question I was going to get to, because I always heard that having bad credit is better than having no credit, and no one never explained it to me. So could you kind of break that down? Who else better would it be for me to ask and get?
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't say that having no credit is worse than bad credit. It's just that when you get to the point where you do want something important, like you do want and substantive, like buying a home, or sort of buying a car or getting a car loan, or that if you don't have any credit, it can be difficult for a creditor to be able to determine whether or not you will pay them back, because you have no history of paying anyone. And so, that doesn't mean that you won't be able to get a home loan or an auto loan, but it is more difficult than if you have a credit history and a good credit history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I get what you're saying too, AJ, because like I've been told that too, and that just makes no sense. Like, you got a history of not paying stuff, that's better than not having a history at all. It's not fair to people just starting out in life.
Yes, and in fact, one of the things that's where a secured card can be helpful as well. If you have no credit history, is that it establishes credit history when you don't have one. So whether it's to rebuild credit or to establish credit, it's good for both.
We're gonna.
And what is the minimal for?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Queen.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, what is the minimum for establishing the secured card for everyone that's listening?
Yep, it's $250.
And is there an option after a certain time period for it to transition into a traditional credit card?
So we just offer a secured card, and the reason is that we saw large companies offer better credit cards for those that have good credit or have, than we could. So we focus really on secured card, and our goal is really to have you establish your credit or rebuild your credit so that you'll be getting credit card offers and be able to, our goal is not for you to be a customer with our secured card for long, but to really transition you to the larger players that do offer credit, what's called unsecured credit. Mm-hmm.
Right, that's good.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. And we totally off topic too. But we came up with a game that we play every so often. We have another one next month in Detroit called the Conscious Olympics. If you are ever free, we would love to have you as a contestant.
Okay.
And it's basically it's just an intellectual game show about our history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I have to call in, or how do I participate?
Well, sometimes we do it live. Like next month, we're doing one live in Detroit. We're gonna live stream it too, though, and it's only $5 too. Plug. But sometimes we do it on the show. Sometimes, and we're thinking about live streaming it like once a month after we get this event out the way. So I'll definitely.
Good.
Yeah, and if you look up My Skin is My Sin, you can find me on Facebook or
great.
Twitter or everything pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately have to go, but I really appreciate you having me and sharing, sort of the movement, and hopefully everyone can tune in tomorrow. It is on Facebook Live, again, One United Bank, our Facebook page, and it starts at 6 p.m. West Coast time.
We will tune in.
Okay. What is that, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard?
Yep, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard.
Oh, it's 9?
9,
bro.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard. Yep.
And we truly appreciate your time and your wisdom, Queen.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me again.
It was
Thank you so much.